Nina's whole argument is this. Let me just sum up Nina's argument, which is there's a bit of crime that goes on in the UK.
Is this mansplaining?
No, I'm not mansplaining.
Is this mansplaining?
No, I'm explaining.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're pathetic. You don't even recognise what you are.
This has got nothing to do with gender. This has got everything to do with my views, which are commonsensical, and yours, which are absolutely bonkers, Nina.
Oh. That's a very, very logical...
Let me get to the argument if you let me actually get the word in edgewise.
You tell me what I'm saying.
Right.
You explain to me as a man what as a woman is saying. I'm coming from a different...
It's got nothing to do with men and women.
It is absolutely to do with men and women. It is absolutely to do with men and women.
Now you're woman-splaining to me. Can you just...
I am not. I'm just defending myself against a bully.
A bully. Stop playing the gender...
Welcome back to Julian Discourse. Please like and subscribe. What happens when the left is cornered over the reality of migrant crime? Watch this explosive GB News panel where broadcaster Nina Myskow attempts to justify the government hiding foreign crime statistics. When pressed, she panics and bizarrely deflects to domestic violence among British men to avoid the truth. It perfectly exposes an elite class that would rather gaslight citizens than admit their open border policies have failed. Watch this.
Good evening. This is a huge scandal. I think Labour are covering up Britain's migrant crime wave. The government is trying to prevent the publication of data revealing the full scale of foreign offending in England and Wales from 2018 to 2024. Why? Well, why could that possibly be? I mean, there's only one reason, isn't there? The true stats on migrant crimes must be absolutely awful. I mean, you know the worst bit? Labour's Justice Minister Alex Norris and Prime Minister Andy Burnham could end up using taxpayers' money to go through the courts to block British taxpayers from knowing about how many immigrants have committed crimes in their own country. I mean, this is treacherous stuff to me. Now, 11 families of victims of crimes carried out by migrants have written to the Justice Secretary demanding that he ends this cover-up. They include the family of Rhianne Whyte, who was stabbed to death by a Sudanese illegal immigrant who stalked her after her shift at a migrant hotel. He then danced as police and ambulance crews failed to save her life. This is like the Pakistani rape gang cover-up all over again. This is like the Afghan resettlement scheme all over again, where successive governments went to court to prevent us from knowing that they'd secretly imported thousands of Afghans, some of whom went on to commit sex crimes. This is like the secret government nudge unit that has been accused of trying to nobble families of victims of migrant crime into giving statements saying things like, oh, we don't want our child's murder to be used to stoke division, or we need to be a kind and inclusive society. I mean, how dare Labour hide the truth about migrant crimes from us? How dare they when they're about to move thousands of illegals into the British countryside? How dare they when they're moving tens of thousands of illegals into HMOs on streets all over the country? How dare they when we can all see it with our own eyes? Just today, Sudanese illegal migrant Ibrahim al-Bashir was sentenced to 25 years in prison and an indefinite James Price, Reform UK councillor Russell Quirk and broadcaster Nina Myskow. Right, James, I'll start with you. It's absolutely staggering that the government is willing to go to court, the highest courts in the land potentially, to cover up the migrant crime stats.
Yeah, absolutely right. And as you say, if they've got nothing to be afraid of, why would they try and do this? Because they know these stats are very, very bad. I think it would be a really interesting and useful point, because you will see a lot of people who are migrants from other countries commit a lot fewer crimes than your average Brit. I don't imagine seeing an awful lot of Japanese criminals, for example. Mrs. Price, as you know, an American lady, I'm not sure she's committed all that many crimes recently. I'm sure she's already tucked up in bed and her crime-fighting days are behind her already at this point. But you will see more crimes being committed from people from certain countries. Now, I don't think that is because those people have any kind of ethnic or biological predisposition to do it, but I do think they probably have cultural predisposition to do it. We know this because you see a lot of people not being deported or attempted to not be deported because their criminal defence barrister will say, well, in my client's defence, he told me he didn't know that raping someone was wrong. He told me he didn't know that that was a problem or that there was such thing as an age of consent, for example, because those things are different in other cultures. We know this. We know that women and gay people and etc. are treated much worse in certain countries and certain cultures than they are in others. And if we start getting that data out to actually prove what qualitatively you can already know, then you might be able to have an economic migration system that could have more high-quality Japanese or American people in or whatever, and maybe fewer people from countries that don't know it's wrong to rape children.
But at least you could have a conversation about it as well, without people being able to go, oh, that's racist, or, oh, well, you haven't really got the data for that. I mean, we've already got a fair amount of data, but you really do have to work for it. Yeah. And this is it. I don't think they want us to be able to go, wallop, there it is.
Well, it's like all problems, isn't it? If you don't acknowledge the bones of the problem, so to speak, how on earth can you possibly fix it? Unless, of course, you're trying to cover up years and years of sixth form ideology that has stated through various governments, Labour and Conservative, that all migration is good. Well, I've got news for our politicians. All migration is not good. Now, I would argue, actually, very strongly, that this country was built on immigration. And actually, I think we should be proud of that. However, what we've done since Blair, since 1997, is to let all and sundry in. People that don't want to contribute, people that don't want to live by our laws, and people from different cultures. This is not about ethnicity, by the way. So it's a very lazy thing for the left to say you're racist. This isn't about ethnicity. This is about cultural differences. And the fact that there are some cultures across the world, whether they be sub-Saharan Africa or the Middle East and so on, where they simply think differently, not just about crime and societal rules and norms, but particularly about women. They feel differently about women.
Do you think that they should be releasing this data?
What good will it do?
Well, we know that.
I mean, seriously.
Well,
seriously, what good will it do? It will only, if the stats are as you imagine, it will only inflame vigilantes. And 14%, there was that statistic, 14% of the crimes committed by foreign nationals. That meant that 86% of crimes were committed by British nationals.
You're really defending this, Nina Myskow.
No, I'm not. I am just. I'm putting a theory to you. Okay.
You don't want to know what the data says.
I want to. Of course, everybody needs data. Facts are knowledge. Knowledge is power. But I'm saying why. No, I'm saying why they might not want to. Because
it will cause unrest as a consequence of what successive governments have done to this
exactly,
country.
and it would cause unrest. May I just point out another statistic for you? The Southport riots. Yeah. Okay.
As a consequence of
the Southport riots, which came as a consequence of a horrendous crime. Okay. Of the men that were arrested. Yeah. Okay. 40% of them. Yeah. Had already been accused of domestic violence. Right. OK? Accused. And proved.
Accused. OK, where's this going?
Yeah. The point of this going, you're saying about, women and girls are more at risk because of illegal migrants and because of their attitudes to women, and I can see the theory of that, OK? But let me just finish this. The men who have come out to defend their women and girls are the ones who are...
We're getting distracted
No.
Let
me finish my... It is completely relevant. It is completely relevant because we're talking about the danger of inflaming vigilantes. And these are the... Let me just say, these are the people...
about the danger of the people that are committing these crimes in this
let me
country
finish. You have to let me finish my point.
No, because you're making absolutely no sense whatsoever. I cannot believe you're defending this.
You have to let me finish this point. Because these are the men supposedly defending their women and girls, and at home... They are beating them up, and you have to admit that.
You're distracted.
And since
you're deflecting.
Since 2020, since 2024, 1 in 5 are still doing it.
Do you think the first role of the government is to protect?
Let's get Jane. Let's just get.
Yes, and that's what they are doing. My theory is that's why they're doing it.
I'll do you a deal. I will accept that we should have even longer and more punitive and deeply unpleasant punishments for men who beat up their wives if we can get this data released as well. I think that would be a fair deal. I think I'm very much in favour that if a man beats up his wife, then the law should...
Can we stop getting distracted by
No, it's not distracted. It is completely relevant. It is completely relevant.
There's no matter of an argument.
It is not.
That's the heart of this, right? If you are lucky enough to be invited to come into the United Kingdom legally, under whatever visa it may be, there are technically restrictions that say if you commit crimes, you may well be sent home. And we very rarely do that in all sorts of cases. You only tend to do it with people who are going to be law-abiding anyway, and then when you have someone from Afghanistan or somewhere who commits a horrible crime, they will say under the ECHR, can't send me back because they treat rapists very badly in Afghanistan, for example, right? You would expect Therefore, 100% of the crimes committed in this country are committed by Brits because we've got no choice about having horrible criminal Britons here. We have choice about having foreigners here, and we should enforce the laws about them not doing crimes.
Nina's whole argument is this. Let me just sum up Nina's argument, which is there's a bit of crime that goes on in the UK.
Is this mansplaining?
No, I'm not mansplaining.
Is this mansplaining?
No, I'm explaining.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're pathetic. You don't even recognise what you are.
This has got nothing to do with gender. This has got everything to do with my views, which are commonsensical, and yours, which are absolutely bonkers, Nina.
Oh, that's a very, very logical...
Let me get to the argument, if you let me actually get the word in edgewise.
You tell me what I'm saying.
Right.
You explain to me as a man what I, as a woman, is saying. I'm coming from a different...
It's got nothing to do with men and women.
It is nothing to do with men and women. It is absolutely to do with men and women. It is absolutely to do with men and women.
Now you're explaining to me. Can you just...
I am not. I'm just defending myself against a bully.
A bully. Stop playing the gender card. It's pathetic.
I am not playing a gender card.
If no one makes a point actually on this topic in a second, I'm going to have to...
I'm going to make a point. What Nina thinks is because there's a bit of crime in Britain, OK, it's OK to import loads more. That's what she thinks.
I didn't say that. I did not say that at all. My theory is that the government
God, you're not in office.
Oh, for God's sake, just stop it. You're pathetic. My theory is that the government is not releasing this information because they are terrified as to what will happen, and that the people who will be inflamed are...
Welcome back to reality. What you just witnessed is the complete collapse of institutional transparency laid bare. When broadcaster Nina Myskow attempts to defend the government hiding migrant crime data, arguing that releasing verified facts would inflame vigilantes, she reveals the establishment's core strategy: managing public perception rather than protecting public safety. Think about the staggering institutional failure taking place. The Ministry of Justice has repeatedly withheld detailed breakdowns of serious offences such as murder and sexual assault by nationality since 2018. When 11 grieving families, including the relatives of Rhianne Whyte, demand the release of this data, the government actively uses taxpayer funds in court to block the truth. This institutional secrecy follows a well-documented historical pattern. In August 2014, the Alexis J. report exposed how authorities in Rotherham covered up the sexual abuse of over 1,400 children for more than a decade out of fear of sparking community tensions. Today, rather than confronting the consequences of open borders and imported cultural clashes, the state resorts to that exact same bureaucratic cowardice. When Myskow is cornered on this reality, notice her immediate instinct, bizarrely deflecting to domestic violence committed by British men and weaponizing identity politics. This is the ultimate diversion tactic. A sovereign nation has a legal duty to prosecute its own domestic offenders, but its primary constitutional responsibility is to control who enters the country in the first place. To argue that a nation must tolerate imported crime simply because domestic crime exists is a total betrayal of the social contract. This exchange matters because it exposes a government running scared from its own record. When authorities hide verified crime statistics, they aren't protecting the peace. They are protecting their own failed policies from public accountability. The public is completely exhausted by elite gaslighting, and they demand a system that puts citizen safety above political embarrassment.